Hello and welcome to the Families Embracing Diversity Conference. This session was kind of an afterthought, so I'm not going to do it live because we had other things planned. But basically, there was a speaker who was unable to make it at the last minute, and I wasn't able to replace the slot. So I wanted to still give you the information I promised while making room for the other things we have planned today. So this is just a quick presentation about 6 beliefs that crush is a dramatic word, but that can hurt a multicultural kid's confidence and how you can avoid them. And I want to start by just clarifying what is a multicultural kid? What is a multicultural family? Basically, if your family is exposed to multiple cultures, you are, in fact, multicultural. A lot of times society looks at it as mixed race, cross-cultural relationships, cross-cultural marriages, multilingual, all of those things do fit in the category, but basically any family who is living counterculturally or exposed to a lot of different cultures could run into these things. So I want to just go through some things that your kids might think or experience or feel. And again, I am presenting this with the perspective of the mom of a multicultural children. One can't really tell me how he's thinking or feeling. So these are things that have come out of conversations with my son. He might be a misnomer. He might be the only one who goes through these things and thinks these things, but I kind of doubt it. So I wanted to share some simple techniques or ideas that we have used to help him overcome those things. I also want to point out that I am not an expert in this. I'm learning as I go, as I think all of us do with anything in parenting. But if you have questions, if you need support, if you need additional help, I am always here to provide that. So you've got my email because I've been sending you emails constantly. Feel free to reach out, ask questions, look for help. So the first one is just that I don't fit in anywhere. When your thoughts and beliefs and ideas aren't exactly like all of your friends, sometimes it can feel like you don't fit in. It can feel like you're not accepted in any of your spaces, and that can feel lonely and that can feel sad. To help kids with that, a great thing to do is to make sure your home is a safe space where they do feel like they fit in, where they are able to be themselves and talk in the language they want, talk about their life and culture in the way that they want, and to just be themselves. And so that means building a good relationship with your kids and being a safe space where they can just be themselves and aren't constantly critiqued about being enough of one culture or the other, or speaking their language perfectly, or acting in a certain way. They can just be themselves, a free space to kind of unwind. The next one is that they're not enough. They're not enough of a culture. And I feel like this probably happens more in cross-cultural, cross-racial relationships where kids will hear, well, you're not really Black because of this, or you're not really Mexican because of that, or you're not really American because of this. And something you'll hear a lot of our speakers talk about is the fact that you can be a mixture. In fact, almost all of us are mixtures of cultural identities, ethnic identities. None of us fit into one specific box. We are able to fit into a lot of different places, and that is a good thing. That's not a bad thing. So ways to combat this is if you hear people make those comments to your kids, well, you're not really this, you're not really that, teach them or model for them, actually, he or she is this identifier that they identify as or with. You don't have to act a certain way or be a certain thing to fit into this group. They can be fully this and fully something else, as what they talked about. The next one is that they're not worth defending. This is one that I struggle with, and my son has brought up to me many times. His name is difficult for English speakers to say, and I fall into the habit of just saying, oh yeah, it's good enough, close enough. And he gets upset with me that I don't correct people, that I don't push for them to say it correctly. And at the end of the day, he's getting the idea that his name isn't important enough to teach people to say the correct way, that his desire to be known by the way his family says his name isn't enough to push back and make other people feel uncomfortable. So a way to combat this specifically with names is encourage people to keep practicing. Say, almost not quite, it sounds more like this, or give them recordings they can listen to of someone pronouncing the name correctly in the way the family pronounces it. But no matter what the issue is, teach your kids that they are able to stand up for themselves. If there's something that they don't like, they are able to say, no, that's not right, or yes, it is, but, and they're able to defend themselves and they're able to defend others. And we want to make sure that the boundaries that we model will be this are being held high, because ultimately the boundaries we model for our kids are the boundaries that they themselves will hold. And so if you want your child to feel confident defending his or herself, they need to see you defend yourself when something happens that you don't like, and they need to see you model doing that for them. Belief number 4, the past doesn't matter. And this is where I think you'll really love Marissa Raymond's session about healing generational trauma. The past does matter. We carry things from the past in our bodies. We carry it in our minds. Even if we don't know the full story of the past, it affects us. Things that have happened to our families are passed down to us. Even if they don't overtly talk about it, they're still passed down to us in our DNA, in the way we react to things, in the way we process things. So one, it's important to take the time to recognize when things are coming up for you, when you're feeling triggered, when you're feeling upset. And it's important to talk about things that have happened to you, things that have happened in your family, because your kids deserve to know their story. And if you don't know your story, it's time to explore. You deserve to know where your family came from, what happened in your family's life, how you came to be where you are, what cultures and identities and things make up who you are. So take the time to explore that, because it does matter and will come up whether you want to talk about it or not. And this goes directly into belief number 5, I don't know who I am. Sometimes kids will notice that they don't look exactly like their classmates, or they don't talk exactly like their classmates, or they don't believe exactly what their classmates believe. And that makes them feel uncertain, but they don't know why, because we've never talked about, well, you believe this because we practice this, because Aditi talks a lot about this in Raising Cultural Mindfulness session. And so it's important to give kids the space and the time to explore and learn who they are culturally, what their background is, so that they can explain those things when questions come up, and so that they know the reason why you do the things that you do. And then belief number 6 is that you're not the only one. And Ute talks about this when she explains finding a place where you can just be yourself. That can be in your home, where, okay, at least in this family circle, we all believe this, we all think this, we all talk like this, and I don't have to act a certain way. But it's also important, if you are, let's say, multiracial, multicultural, multilingual, to interact with other families who also share those values and those beliefs and those lifestyles, so that your kids can see themselves reflected in other families as well. So intentionally building relationships with other multicultural families is very valuable for your kids, in helping them see that they are a part of a larger community of people who are doing life a lot like their family does, and that they aren't the only one. So if you see any of these confidence crushers in your child's life, I first of all encourage you to listen to the sessions that talk about things related to that. And then reach out to people. Parenting isn't meant to do alone. So figure out who can help you. Think of people, organizations, courses, books, etc. This panel of multicultural speakers is full of amazing resources that you can use to help you achieve your goals. And the speakers tomorrow will be talking a lot about race and racism and cultural diversity. The topics might feel a little bit heavier, but they're still directly related with raising kids' confidence, because we want them to know how to respond to comments, questions, things that come up. So all of those sessions will equip you to know how to have hard conversations with your kids, and know how to help them answer hard questions, or navigate difficult situations that happen in school, happen out in life. Being multicultural does not mean your kids will have an identity crisis or struggle with self-confidence. All kids struggle with those things. However, being a multicultural family means you have more things to talk about, means you have more things to address, and more things to prepare your kids for and equip your kids for. So that is why this conference exists, to help you equip your children to go out into the world with confidence and be themselves and be proud of every aspect that makes them who they are. If you need help or support with that, reach out and I will happily connect you to the best expert, as we're all learning as we go, to help you on your journey. Thank you for being a part of this conference, for taking the time to listen and learn with us. And I hope that you have a wonderful day, and I look forward to seeing you in the next session.